Once again, guys, it's Scotty back again. This is not a typical video that I would usually do, but I've had some audio issues with my recordings recently, so I'm doing a different video today. But one nonetheless that I told my my streaming viewers that I would do. So if you've already seen the title, then you'll know that this is not the best settings. This is not the best settings for Call of Duty, but this is the settings that I go by that help me. So, you know, you might have better settings than me, but I thought to myself I won't make a settings video since I've already made loadout videos before, and if any settings prove fruitful for you or beneficial to you, then hey ho, it's worth it. But yeah, we're just gonna get into some settings today, and I'll explain some things of why I've got certain things on, and you never know. But this is only for controller though, because I'm on Xbox, so I don't have mouse and keyboard. Isn't really my forte. I don't know anything about it really. So let's just get going with it. So first of all, the button layout. I see a lot of folk these days still using the default setting. Now, the default setting, I used to use it for quite a long time, but it stops certain movement from happening. Tactical, on the other hand, I would recommend for any, like, if you, for example, right, oh, pardon me, for example, if you play that fucking, like, claw thing on controller, which I don't understand how to do it, then, probably this won't really affect you. But if you play normally, like me, then tactical is the best I would go for. You can go for bumper jumper tactical, because then you're basically pressing it at LB or L1, I think it is on PlayStation controllers, to jump. But that does make it awkward then, because like throwing a tactical equipment, beg your pardon, is always going to be either A or X if you're on PlayStation. But I don't think that's very good though. So, pretty much, tactical for me is best, because then you don't have to take your fingers off analog at all. You can crouch and slide it, all of the above with your analog. You don't have to fucking like press B or hold B or press or hold circle, for example, to slide or dive. So default is the best I can do. I'd highly recommend it. Once again, this is not the best settings ever, just the settings I use. But if you want a good experience, put on tactical though. Secondly of all, now sensitivity. This is one that's probably controversial among the whole COD community. But if you wish to like really get a sense for how you're doing the game wise, most players go between 1.4 and 1.65 or 1.6. Some players do 1.8, but that's too fucking fast for me. I used to do 1.6 for ages, but it was always quite fast for me. I put it down to 1.4, and it's so much better. So much better. Because, like, you're able to, like, control, like, everything a lot better. Now, if you are someone who wants to fucking, have their camera fucking going pretty fast, like crazy, and left and right, up and down, all that kind of stuff, then, put it to like 1.6 or 1.8 even, if you want to have faster movements. But I find it's easier to you feel more in control between 1.4 and 1.5 personally. I have 1.4 because I feel like I'm in control that way, and I can aim better too. So both of these are 1.4. That way, no matter whether you're going side to side or up and down, it's the same speed constantly. Ignore all these things. Control vibration, but for the love of God, I don't know why folk want control vibration off. No, sorry, on, sorry. Because to me, if your controller's going to vibrate, controller vibrating, it could put your aim off. Because like your controller vibrating, it could affect your aim. So, highly recommend it off. Dead zone inputs is what a lot of players get wrong. Because I've noticed a lot of players are always like, oh my God, like, how do folk move so fast or move so instantly? Dead zones is crucial. and it can help you with if you have stick drift. And if you don't know what stick drift is, basically it's when, say you've moved a little bit in a game, or you've loaded into a game on multiplayer, Warzone, whatever, right? If you're not touching your analog stick, right, but your operator or aka camera is still moving without you touching the analog sticks, it basically means you have stick drift. So your analog is a little bit sticky, so it doesn't actually fucking like stay put. You can counter that though. Left stick min, I make it a 1 because you want it to be as sensitive as possible. That way you don't have to like do much. That means you gotta barely move and you gotta barely fucking tap your analog stick and your guy just fucking runs forward. Left stick maximum, I would definitely put it about left stick maximum. I'd recommend between about anywhere between fucking, I don't know, about 70 or 80. Because any more than 80, you really have to move your analog stick to like a lot to get full movement. I put it at 70, so that way, like I'll show you for example. If I test dead zones, right, on the left, you can't see the right one unfortunately, but on the left one, right, I've got a little bit of stick drift there, but not much. I've got a tiny bit of stick drift, but it's minimal though. Basically, right, I've got to just flick this, and I'm flicking that, and it's going straight to the corner. Like, I've only put my, like, that isn't even, my analog stick, beg your pardon, isn't even fully over, and it's already at the edge. So, that's why I recommend doing 1 to 70. Right stick minimum, mine's only at 4 because I was getting stick drift, so I've made it more responsive and a tad better. In fact, I'm going to change it a little bit to 2 actually, because I got stick drift a minute ago. Wait, I'll just double check. Yeah, because now I don't get any, I get no stick drift in the slightest. It's going back to 0. See what I mean with the zeros? It'll always go back to 0 if you go the right dead zones. Right stick maximum, if you want to get the best out of your aiming, right stick maximum put to 100, because that way you can really fucking like take advantage of how much you want to aim with an analog stick. The triggers, I'll put them to 0 because that way you get the most responsive triggers possible. And it's much easier that way too. Apart from that though, then we get to aiming. Now, if you want to change any, hold on. Beg your pardon. If you want to get the sensitivity multiplier settings done, it isn't crucial. Like, it's not bad. But, I should change it. There we go. But, like, for example, the only one I would change is, like, the ADS sensitivity multiplier. Apart from that, though, I wouldn't really change them all. But if you want to change this one I'm on right here, put it between 0.8 and the default 1.00 and experiment and see how you feel, because that's all I can really say. I haven't got that much knowledge about those things, but apart from that, it's okay. Aim in advanced settings, you want ADS sensitivity transition timing instant, because that way it's if you don't have it like that, then it's going to be gradual, so it won't take effect until you aim in. Aim response curve type, for the love of God, put it on dynamic. It makes your aiming and movement a bit more fluid, if that makes sense. That per zoom thing doesn't really faze me, so I don't really do it. For the love of God, make sure you got target aim assist on if you're on console. Now, this is one that a lot of people I've seen on videos. Sprint assist is amazing. If you want to put a tactical sprint assist on, you can. But it'll slow down your ADS speed or aim down sight speed. So obviously, you know, if you're running at full pelt with this tactical sprint assist, as you know, your guy's like holding your gun upwards, isn't he? And he's running like that. If you're running around a corner like that though, and someone's around the corner, by the time he aims in at you, you have to come out of that stance to then aim down your sight and then shoot him. I keep this just an on. That way, you're sprinting normally, and it makes it easier because then if you come across someone, you can aim down sight just that much faster. You can leave that one off for the love of God. But oh, by the way, make sure sprint assist sideways and backward are on, and sprint assist delay is 0. So make sure that is off. Make sure crouch assist is off. Corner slice is off. Now, the slide dive behavior, if you want to get full control of the Omni movement in Black Ops 6, you're best to go for hybrid. But, for example, you have tap to dive. So you got tap. So you got hold to slide, tap to dive, or you got tap to slide. So it's tap to slide, hold to dive, right? Now I'll admit I'm tempted to go back to that thing because that way you can tap it to slide and you can hold to dive. I am tempted to do that, but I've been using slide only for ages because slide only to me, it feels better for me because I'm not much of a diving like player, so I just prefer to fucking like slide into things. But I'm gonna try. If you want to still be able to slide and dive though, the hybrid is very, very hard to learn. For example, it says tap only with the slide, tap whilst holding sprint to input to dive. And if you are barely moving forward and you still tap it, but you want to slide, it will dive. So you sort of got to fucking like learn that part. I will admit, I do want to go back to tap the slide soon because that way, tap it, slide, holding the button to dive. I do want to do that soon, but I think I might do it like I don't know before my next stream tomorrow morning. Maybe I don't know, but slide only I've had it on for ages because then I couldn't dive and I could only slide and I couldn't fuck up the stuff. But I think I might fucking put it on tap the slide again though because. In fact, yeah, I put it on now actually, because think about it. If you're moving right and you just tap your analog stick on it, if you're on tactical, button layout, if you just tap your right analog stick down, you'll slide. If you hold it down, you're gonna dive. So I think I'm gonna try that instead. Now this is where it gets interesting. Sprint restore, keep it on. Slide maintain sprint definitely on. If you're on Warzone. Parachute automatic behavior, make sure for the fucking love of God you put this off because that way you can open your parachute when you want to. Because if you don't, basically if you don't do that, your parachute is going to open automatically and then you might get beaten to the floor. Mantle cancels reload, I've got it off because I can't mantle whilst reloading. Although I am tempted to put it back on because basically if you put that back on, mantle assist activates whilst reloading, cancel on the reload. I am tempted to put that back on, but I'm not too sure though. In fact, yeah, I'll put it back on though. But that way makes it simple though. Now movement and advanced settings, these ones don't matter a shit ton, but I'll just go through them anyway. So the first option you got, sprint and tactical sprint behavior, is toggle because if you have it on anything else, believe me, you won't like it. Put it that way. Grounded mantle is obvious because it says climb nearby obstacles while on the run using the jump button. Obvious. Auto move forward, no, off. Now, tactical sprint activation. This is where it's weird. They've worded it right. They've worded it wrong. So, I'd recommend single tap run because that way you don't have to do much for your tactical running to kick in. You can just want to move forward and it kicks in. Plunging underwater, free. Sprint and door bash, of course, on. Combat, obviously, aim down sight speed on, and because that's the most default stuff. That's prioritized finishing move, but that doesn't really matter. If you're on Warzone, then armor plate behavior, apply all, so you haven't got to put on one plate at a time. The C4 detonation one by one. Equipment behavior hold. Manual fire behavior press. Combat advanced settings. The only thing worth it putting here is like, what is it? Change D-pad behavior. So, yeah. So just leave that as it is. Now, change zoom activation. Sprint. Make sure this is on sprint assist, tactical sprint, and focus, because if it isn't, you're going to hate it. Talking too fast for myself now. Weapon mount assist, exit. Yeah, fucking I can't talk. Weapon mount exit is instant. Now, this one's a bit of a hit and miss. If you're only a multiplayer person, you don't really need to do this. But if you are like me and you don't mind going Warzone now and then, but also you love multiplayer too, because I play both of them, to interact and reload behavior, I keep it on prioritize interact. Basically, it means that if you've got a chest that you're nearby in Warzone, you can open it by fucking just tapping the button. It does mean that if you're trying to reload your gun and you tap, if you tap the reload right, but there's something underneath you, like a gun or something like that, you'll change guns unwillingly. So usually it means you have to fucking hold the reload button a little bit longer just to make sure you can make sure you reload properly. Sprint cancels reload, no way, turn it off. Everything else is pretty much as it is on the screen though. Is there anything really here? No. Next we go into graphics. Now mine's kind of limited because I've got my console settings a bit. My console settings are different though. Eco mode preset on display for graphics on efficiency. I'd only recommend doing this if you want to save energy, because the other one will basically stop this efficiency, basically any energy consumption or heating or overheating or wear and tear of your console will be minimal on efficiency. View, now for the love of God, a lot of folk don't do this, but world motion blur off, weapon motion blur off, depth of field, for the love of God, put that off. Fidelity FX CAS, put it on, because basically all this does is it makes your game look sharper. Now that can differ on different platforms. Like old gen consoles, you won't notice it as much, but if you're on a new gen console like Series S, like Xbox Series S, Series X, or PS5, because I'm on Series X just now, then put it on and make sure it's 100. Basically, it enhances the sharpness of what you're looking at, and it'll look a lot better, believe me. Now, this one is subjective to your internet. If your internet can handle it, then put optimized. If you got bad internet, put it on minimal, but you will see a change in your textures though, and all that kind of stuff. It won't look as good anymore, but put it on if your software and your Wi-Fi can handle it, let it optimize itself though. Because then, if you do want to optimize it all, put it on auto, download limit on, and then daily download limit on that, because that way there isn't really much to go on. Although I think I'm gonna I think I'm actually get rid of that, actually. Turn it off, actually. Don't need it, really. And the next part, view. This one's... now, these two, don't worry about that. Keep these two top ones off. There's no real big thing about that. FOV, field of view. This one, I've seen a lot of YouTubers, streamers, etc. talking about it. I've done my homework so that you don't have to. And I can recommend... anything from a 113 field of view like I'm on to a 120. I know some pro players out there have been rumored to fucking use like 90, etc. But I think that's too small. So I'd recommend anything from 113 to 120, and believe me, you will not be disappointed. So yeah, 113 to 120, it will change how you see the game, if you're not on it obviously already. Now, ADS field of view, by the love of God, put it on affected, because if you put it on affected, then it just looks and feels better when you're playing it, though. Weapon field of view, put it on wide, because that way the gun looks smaller, And the only reason the only good thing about the gun looking smaller is that way you barely get any visual recoil. And what I mean by that is, if you're shooting a gun, right, and it's shaking like crazy when it's recoiling, you put this thing on wide, the weapon will appear smaller on screen, and so the visual recoil will be less, and your accuracy will improve a lot. This stuff doesn't really matter. Make sure to put this stuff on, like, you don't have to do this stuff, but it's up to you guys. I mean, first person camera movement at least again for third person. Next one is third person ADS, and then invert flashbang. I've got it off because you don't need that shit. It's not worth it. Now audio, this is the icing on the cake. If you want the best audio quality possible, and I'm not talking about just me, because I've given this to everyone that I know about and everyone I've played with in the past, and they've all told me that footsteps are easier to hear, you can hear way more stuff, etc. Master volume, put it to 100, because if you've got, like, now, I will say a disclaimer here. If you haven't got a good quality headset, like this headset I'm wearing is amazing. Like, honestly, this thing, this is what they've got, probably the best headset I've ever had in my life, and it's comfy as hell. Nice, it doesn't hurt me at all, and the speakers in this thing are phenomenal. So that's a plus. If you have like a cheap headset, like say, if your headset's like fucking £50 or $50 or whatever, or below, or whatever the dollars, whatever £50 in dollars equivalent is, you get the drift. If it's anything like, you know, beyond, like, below fucking like $50 or below for a gaming headset you're using, put this master volume to 90, because you might, cheaper headsets, to my experience, haven't got the best drivers in here, like in the speakers, and that doesn't really help. So put that to 90 if you've got a average sort of like headset. But if your headset can take it, put it at 100. Next of all, gameplay music volume down to 0. You don't need it, believe me. You don't need it at all. Dialogue volume. Now you don't want to be deafened by this thing, but you still want to hear what's going on in the game. But you want to make sure that's, like, not, you know, distracting you. So 30, you choose either. I usually go between 30 and 40 all the time. It's up to you guys though. Between 30 and 40 I could recommend though, personally. Effect volume, put it to 100. You'll hear so much more. Like, you know how a lot of folks say that, oh my god, like, hey, that guy's audio is tuned, or that guy's got audio hacks, or audio cheats, because I've heard that before. Not joking, most of them just have the exact same settings I've got right here. Helps you hear things better, and it's way better. Then cinematic music volume, 0, because it's not necessary. Now, this one's controversial. Enhanced headphone mode, I have it turned off, because I found that, I don't know if it's just me. I mean, I've got pretty sensitive hearing, just to say, put out there, but, like, for me personally, this, like, it numbs down certain sounds for me. Maybe I'm just being me. Maybe I'm just being stupid about that one. But when I put this on, for some reason, it nulls down the sound. Not all the time, obviously. If you're using headphones, I would recommend popping this on. But say you're using a sound bar or a TV, for example, to play things with. If you're not using a headset, to keep this off. You don't have to have it on if you have a headset, because I don't really need it on, to be absolutely honest with you. But regardless, though, not 100% necessary though. This I put it on headphones, because audio mix on headphones, because it tunes it on console, which shows that I don't play on PC, so I don't have all the fucking fancy, like, PC sound property setting malarkey, right? Audio mix is on headphones because it lets me hear it. Like, for example, especially if you're wearing headphones, it keeps it like, it tightens the sounds for you, so all the range of sounds is easier to hear. Mono audio, that can fuck off. If you don't know what that means, mono audio means that, say if someone's running past you on the right in the game, you're going to hear it in both sides, and that's, no, you only want to hear it on one side. So mono audio off completely. If you're a content creator, streamer, YouTuber, you name it, make sure mute licensed music, because you don't want to copyright. Don't want copyright, obviously. Asymmetrical hearing compensation, not worth it, because the tuning that it takes, I've seen so many YouTube videos with everybody having a different opinion on this, and it just doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Like, it doesn't have anything. You don't actually fucking, like, you don't actually, like, hear anything majorly. Reduced to 90%, I put that off. But you can put it on if you wish to, because basically it means that the sound from concussion and flash grenade shell shock is replaced with a more dull, murky sound. You can use it if you want to, although I might put it back on, actually. Hit marker thing, put it on default, because, oh my god, that hit marker fucking default sound on this game is lovely. Voice chat is kind of subjective. Like, my voice chat volume is at 94, so that I can, well, I'm putting it to 90 actually. Voice chat, up to you really. If you want to hear folk in Warzone that are close to you, put it on proximity chat. Last word's voice chat on Warzone is quite funny. Game chat voice all lobby if you wish, or you can change it to like whatever settings you want. Obviously input device. Microphone level, you're best to put it at 100. And the open mic sensitivity. This one's different, because, as I said, it says in the notebook here, look, the higher the value, the less sensitive the microphone. So, to be honest, if you put it too high up, it may not be able to hear you properly. You might have to fucking like shout just to talk. But you play around with it and see what you think, though. Interface, I don't really muck about all these. I mean, off, all this stuff off. Because now, if you need to have like server latency, your packet loss and your all that and like all that stuff, yeah, if you need to have all that stuff like on or whatnot, then you can do. But my internet is bloody fast, so I don't need that actually. Readability, subtitles, you can do what you want with it. These are all pretty much fucking... Now, this one's where things get interesting. I've got my color customized so that on the minimap, enemies and everything else just pops out. So I've got myself on red, because I know it's a bit fucking backwards, because, like, technically if it's on red, it might not... You might confuse yourself as an enemy, which I know sounds really weird, but that's just my way of thinking, though. I would change your party one to whatever you wish to, because then you could also identify your friends in the game. Now, a lot of folk have their enemies on red. I've got my enemies on a custom color, and all you have to do is go up to the fucking hue bit here, and put it exactly what I've got it here. To the point where if you move that bit where it says hue, right, get it to the sweet spot where the hex hashtag bit says FF00FF. Okay, you're gonna have to get used to the enemies being you have to get used to the enemies being like a very fucking like bright fucking purpley pink. But the minimap, oh my god, they show up so much easier. Believe me, you'll thank me later. It doesn't matter for that stuff. Now, this one is controversial, but color filter, I use filter 2 because filter 2 makes colors just pop. Like, if you're thinking your game doesn't quite look as colorful as you want it to, you want just more out of what you're seeing, because that's what I thought when the game first came out. Like, holy fuck, I was like, this is it. It's fucking so damn dull. Put it to filter 2. Filter 2 gives you the best possible color filter in the game, and to my experience, the colors just explode better, and visual wise, it's so pleasing. You'll thank me later. Now, color filter target world, definitely world, because you put on an interface, you'll find it annoying, because I've never tried the interface in my defense, but I've heard world is the best one, because that way everything around you just looks better. The intensity, up to you guys. I would recommend anywhere between 85 to 100, but you can play around with it as you wish though. Now this is where some people get confused. Minimap shape, for the love of God, make it a fucking square. You put the minimap as a circle, you are gonna miss so much information. Because obviously, as you can't really see past a webcam just now, but the square has more map than the circle does. Rotation, of course, put that on. Radar, there's no point, because there's just no point. Horizontal compass, of course, because that way, if you do horizontal, your compass is at the very fucking top of your screen, and you can read it better. As you see on the one that says under compass type, where you've got the circle minimap, that compass is a piece of shit. Now, that doesn't matter too much. In-game text chat, up to you, subjective. Player names, subjective, to be honest with you. I just don't see an issue with it. Crosshair, now this is one that some people don't know. If you want the best out of the game, now obviously, don't put it off for the love of God. But if you put it on static, as I'll read this right to you guys, keep the crosshair fixed on screen, reduces motion sickness, but inaccurately represents the direction of your fire. Center dot, display a single dot in the center of the screen, can act as a fixed anchor to elevate motion sickness. Static is genuinely the best one I've used. It's amazing. And not only that, when this game first came out, now obviously it's been quite a while since then, so outdated information and all, but when this game first came out though, there wasn't a crosshair that was designed for specifically just fucking like Black Ops 6 guns. So like the crosshair was designed to flow with Black Ops 6 guns and Modern Warfare guns in Warzone. Now you put it in static, you get the best. You will get the best possible crosshair type for Black Ops 6. If you want to do more, you want to go into more detail, do on and on. Now I put on the largest, because the largest means you can see it way easier and you can work on your centering better. Opacity is 0. Color, you can do whatever color you want. I've got on red because I find it mega easy to see. Put them on and on. That stuff doesn't really matter, to be absolutely honest with you. But yeah, that's all I can really put down straight away, guys. I can't think of anything else that I need to go over. So if this video has helped you at all, you probably this probably is the fucking like 50th settings video you've seen, but this isn't the best settings to use. This is the settings that I use to play at my best. And everyone's subjective. Everyone's got a taste for in a way that they like to do their settings. But this is Black Ops 6 / Warzone settings, Scotty style, because it's my settings, not the best ones. Because I think there's so much videos out there saying best settings that I'm like, you can't all fucking do best settings. Come on, man. But no, if this video has helped you at all, by all means, throw a like on the video, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'd appreciate it. We are so close to 200. I can taste it. Or is that the fucking pastry I had earlier? But no. But anyway, I love yous and leave yous. Keep being amazing. Keep being positive. Keep being decent humans. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. So if you've liked this one, then, and if you want any more information, by the way, feel free to pop into one of my streams. I stream every single weekday from about 9:30 p.m. onwards. And if you want to pop into one of my streams and ask for more information, you can do. But apart from that, though, I'll catch you guys later. And take care.